Welcome to the beginning of something I've been carrying inside for a long time now. Real talk, I almost didn't press record. I kept saying I'm not ready. I still don't got the background I want. I need this rustic look. I want this brick and rusted iron, all of that. And then I stopped and thought to myself, does that really matter? Because none of those things, the chair, the mic, the aesthetics, none of that will actually change lives. What changes lives is this: honesty, accountability, confidence, consistency. And that doesn't need a studio. It needs a decision. But let's be real. That was fear. That was self-doubt wearing a mask. That was me stalling on myself. Because none of that matters. What also matters is this: I'm here. I got a voice. I got something to say. And I got the courage to show up raw, real, and uncut. So let me take the time to introduce myself. Hello everybody. My name is Justin Wright. And if you're tired of the lies, the weakness, and the BS, then you're in the right place. This is Wright Is My Name. And we're not just a podcast. We're a platform. A wake-up call for a generation that's lost its edge, that's lost its way. In all honesty, that has lost its mind. We live in a time where everyone's screaming but nobody's saying nothing. Where you can post 1,000,000 times but still not be heard. Where people chase fame but forget to build character. I'm not interested in trending. I'm interested in truth. I'm here to bring the weight to the world obsessed with noise. We talk leadership, strength, legacy, integrity, masculinity without apology, womanhood with power, truth that doesn't ask for permission. We're bringing back real conversations and accountability because the world doesn't need more social media influencers. It needs more leaders and people who will actually influence not just ourselves, but our future and our children. We're going to talk about what matters even when it's uncomfortable. That means the real stuff: news, politics, cultural shifts, what's happening in our schools, our home, our cities, and our country, and what's being taught without being spoken out loud or even brought up to parents. I'm not here to play neutral if the truth is on the line. I'm here to call it how I see it, with logic, boldness, and conviction. Because if you're not paying attention, we are all literally getting played tough, like real tough. I didn't grow up with everything figured out. I wasn't handed a blueprint for leadership or legacy. But what I did have was a mother and a father, a family that looked at me and knew I was destined for greatness. They pushed me to be the best me, the best father, and the best man I can be. But I also had to work hard, and I had to learn the hard way on some things. I had to fall. Man, did I have to fall. I had to get humbled. Man, did I have to get humbled. And I had to lose myself in some seasons and fight like hell to get back. But that's all humans. We all go through those things. There were nights where I stared at the ceiling asking if this was it. There were moments I wanted to quit, not just projects, but myself. But every time I almost folded, something in me screamed, "You're not done yet." And that voice became a roar. I had to build myself, not in front of a crowd, not for applause, not for clout, but in silence, under pressure, and in pain. That's why I wrote Built to Lead, the brutal truth about strength, respect, and legacy, dropping August 13th. That's not just a title, that's my testimony. And this podcast is an extension of that fire. So think about it, y'all. This is what we're really about. We're really about the journey. It's for the builders, the fighters, the thinkers, the listeners, the ones that want to make a difference. It's for the fathers trying to lead his son better than how he was led. It's for the women who have to carry weight alone and still showed up strong, still have to be a mom and raise their daughters to be right. For the kids with no role models, no blueprint, just a gut feeling they were made for more. If that's you, if you ever been underestimated, overlooked, and counted out, for the ones that knows the system's broken, but they still gotta show up and lead, For the men trying to reclaim their strength, for the woman carrying both softness and steel, for the people done being told what to think and start asking questions. I'm here to bring it unfiltered and uncut. It's gonna get uncomfortable, but growth always is. Some episodes is gonna be me, no BS, no filter, no TikTok dances, or clickbait, just truth. Other episodes, I'll bring on people who've walked through fire and came out stronger than forged steel. Voices that will pierce the veil like an iron. People who have real scars and real stories. People who can tell you what the textbook like to leave out. We'll talk about discipline when nobody's watching, respect when the world doesn't give it, masculinity, identity, and legacy. And yes, what's really going on in this country and why it matters. Because silence, that's how legacies die. There's over $1 trillion worth of ideas buried in the cemetery. Look, I don't know what brought you here. Maybe you've been quiet too long. Maybe you're surrounded by people but still feel alone. Maybe you've achieved some things but deep down, you know you barely scratched the surface. Whatever it is, it brought you here, and you're here for a reason. Maybe you're tired of wasting potential. Maybe you're done letting fear write your story. Or maybe you're just searching for someone who's willing to say the brutal, honest truth out loud. And if that's you, you're not alone. I started this because I got tired of watching people coast through life with their eyes closed. Got tired of seeing people pull their phones out, trying to be the next trend, trying to post the next famous video, instead of sticking their hands out to help their fellow man. I'm tired of watching men shrink, watching women get told to settle for less, watching families break down while everyone stays silent and says nothing. This isn't a podcast. This is a war in our society. And to be quite brutally honest, we're getting our butts kicked. So what can you expect from Wright Is My Name? Weekly drops, not watered down, not sugar-coated. Episodes that make you think harder and lead better. Interviews that challenge the surface level and the deep levels of thinking and actions. And content that actually helps you build a name that means something. We'll touch on everything. Fatherhood and broken homes. Modern manhood versus masculinity myths. What it means to lead in chaos. And how to build a life so solid they can't ignore your name. Because one day they're gonna ask what you stood for. What did you build? What was your name? What did your name mean? Will your name echo because you made noise or because you made an impact? I already know my answer. I'm Justin Wright, and Wright is my name. And this is where it begins. This isn't just a podcast. This is where the granite and the line begins. Either you lead or you get led. Either you rise or you stay where they left you. Comfort is the enemy. Weakness is contagious. And silence is how legacies get buried and stay nameless. But not mine, not yours. Trust and believe that. So if you're ready to stop BSing around, to stand up like your name depends on it, like your legacy depends on it, to live like your name actually means something, then welcome home. Let's get started, grab a hammer, and let's start getting this stuff built out. Episode 1 drops this week. Stay tuned. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.